All right, well, next question on the shot clock with JR and Ben. The Atlanta Hawks have won 27 of the last 29. It might be 28 of the last 30 at this point, and are currently riding a 14-game winning streak. Kyle Korver is one of many pieces on that roster who make a tremendous impact on spreading the floor. Is Kyle Korver an all-star? We'll start with Ben.
Is Kyle Korver an all-star? He is shooting 54% on threes, and 72% of his shots are threes. 72% of the shots he takes in an NBA game are three-pointers. He is having his best year after a distinguished career to begin with. Those numbers are staggering. He is absolutely not an all-star because it would be like putting a lefty specialist in the Major League All-Star game. Granted, a lefty specialist who got every lefty out, but he's not an all-star.
Kyle Korver, no, he's not an all-star. I mean, this is the way a lot of times it works. It's almost a popularity contest at first when it comes to the fan voting, which always is becoming more and more annoying. That's got to change. But if we do look at some numbers, I like it at least. You know, we like how a guy can help a team. He's a nice role player for his team. So maybe he's up there as far as helping his team and being a certain amount of importance to getting them what they've gotten. But if you throw him in an all-star game, it's not going to do much for anyone. And also, is anybody going to see what he's doing to help out that all-star team win? No.
All right, so by the way, Kyle Korver, in strengthening my argument for him being an all-star, which he should be, he can become, and he's on track to become, the first NBA player to shoot over 50% from three, over 50% from the field, and over 90% from the free throw line. That's efficient.
72%.
That only helps my argument if he's shooting 72%
He's
from
great
three.
at one thing, but it's
Threes?
one thing.
So you can say Ray Allen was great at one thing.
Yeah, but he was better at it.
Not as efficient, actually.
Yeah, but Ray Allen was
he
a
was
more
better. I'm not
dynamic
arguing Ray
overall
Allen's.
player.
Yeah, no.
But I got it. Here's what should be respected in that All-Star game: the Atlanta effing Hawks. And the fact is, if there should be an Atlanta Hawk in the All-Star game, I don't know. I could make as powerful an argument for Jeff Teague as Paul Millsap, as Al Horford, and almost as Kyle Korver. But this is a team that it confounds nearly everyone following the NBA how they're this good. But then you look at the numbers and they play great team basketball. They don't have the way the Warriors play team basketball. It's not like the world is gathering around and watching on TNT every time they're on thinking, it's great fun to watch the Hawks. But they are fun to watch.
And this is what's happening. I watched a few of their latest games of this streak they're on. DeMarre Carroll looks excellent all of a sudden. You see him come out there, and he once the floor gets spread, because now the defense is playing from the way the Hawks are presenting something to him, and Carroll does the same thing that Korver does. Of course, not at the same rate and not at the same amount of times that he does, but Carroll looks great in this kind of offense. It's one of those things, if you're a pro player and you can shoot the damn ball and you get a wide open jumper, you're going to hit it.
You know what Danny Ferry did? I mean, with all the problems, Danny Ferry put together a pretty good roster. They're
called the poor man's Spurs, by the way. And also, to segue real quick, the NBA All-Star starters were announced. We have two graphics for you guys. There's the East starters coming to you now.
I mean, look, the East starters, the Carmelo Anthony obviously doesn't belong there, considering the situation this year, but that's the way it goes. I mean, probably Pau Gasol doesn't either. It's too bad that we don't have Jeff Teague or Paul Millsap starting. But that's partly the nature of getting two guys. I know everybody's thinking this when Tony Curtis and Sidney Poitier were both nominated for the Defiant ones. They split the votes. And the Hawks, it's hard to decide which Hawk ought to be starting, but it wouldn't bother me at all if there were three Hawks named as reserves, because those guys deserve to be.
It almost comes to maybe, again, I think the format's going to maybe morph, and maybe this won't work either. But at least get some of the stars from the top teams. Okay, the reason Carmelo may not fit in there is because he's a star from the worst team. So just because it's name recognition. Again, I talked about the popularity contest. And
should the fans be voting at all?
0%. Get them the hell out of there. And actually, I don't like how writers get to vote on things like Hall of Fames and stuff like that. And
who should vote?
Coaches,
the internet,
and coaches and fellow people who are there every night with them, observing from the point of view.
Writers. That's writers.
Writers are biased. I can't stand that.
Oh, that's horseshit. That's such horseshit.
No, writers hate a lot of players based on who their affinity is.
And coaches don't?
I'm saying, man, the coaches understand when there's a certain amount of talent for someone, because they have to prepare to stop someone. Whether or not you liked Kobe back in the day when he was actually great, which I never did, you're not going to walk out and say, yeah, Kobe sucks, because that's a stupid thing to say.
I don't have any problem with coaches being involved in the process. I just don't think writers should be dismissed either.
Fans should vote. They shouldn't be voting on who starts, though. I think the fans should be because it's for the fans. A lot of the All-Star Weekend is for fans, and which makes sense. But I think the coaches and writers should be voting on who starts. And the reason for that, when you throw up the Western Conference All-Stars, you're going to see that, Kobe Bryant's on that list over James Harden. And if the fans voted, of course, both those guys are going to get in as All-Stars. But if the coaches and the writers voted, no way in hell Kobe Bryant starts over James Harden. He is an MVP candidate this year.
I wouldn't vote for James Harden for MVP if my life depended on it, under any circumstance.
Under any circumstances.
Under any circumstances.
Because you don't like him, or because you think his offensive and slight change in defensive output this year does not justify him being an MVP?
He doesn't look like a guy who tries on defense. You have to try.
He tries more this year than he has in his past 10 years.
You have to make a better effort on defense. Then he's got to show me over a longer period of time the defensive effort. Like you look at Klay Thompson. That's the guy.
That's exactly what I was going to
He plays both ends of the floor.
It's a guy trying.
And again, when you have the team that's that good, there's 6 losses on the season for this team? 6 to 7 losses
for Golden State. Yeah.
And you've got, again, the roster could be, there's times when it's filled with multiple guys from the same team. When the Lakers were big, get Shaq and Kobe. And that's fine because they were just dominating the league. And then, of course, the Pippen and the Jordans, when they're dominating the league. They're dominating the league right now, and we got one starter because, he's one half of Splash Brothers. Again, that's another thing that sticks out. Splash Brothers, cool. Fans are going to appreciate it. Bring both of the Splash Brothers onto the team.
I like this. I bet he does start because Kobe obviously is not going to play.
That's true.
I like. I don't like to say this, but I think Jason makes a good point. It pains me. I like the idea of the fans voting, for, half the team. Let them vote for 6 guys. Let them vote for 7 guys. And then those guys don't have to start. They're just on the team.
I tell you what, how about the fans vote? Since it's for the fans, the fan nights, the sophomore freshman versus the world game, the USA versus the world game, the dunk contest, the 3-point contest. Let them vote those guys in, since that's the fan nights. And the real game, when it actually has guys that deserve to be in the All-Star game, but don't let the 13-year-old fans who aren't watching basketball anyway vote because they saw commercials about
JR, I'm not 13, I'm 15.
Yeah, we got a 13-year-old producer. I don't disagree with you in concept, but who cares about the All-Star game? It's not a real game. Mm-hmm. It's literally not a real game. It's an exhibition game. So who cares? That said, before we finish, the Hawks need to be represented there, and the Hawks did an amazing thing on Martin Luther King Day for their game. They had an Atlanta choir introduce the starting lineup. It was incredibly cool.
At guard, 6'2" from Wake Forest, number 0, Jeff Teague. At guard, 6'7" from Creighton, number 26, Kyle Korver. At forward, 6'8" from Missouri, number 5, Tomari Carroll.
I grew up in a Southern Baptist church in St. Louis, and I liked it. It has a very Southern feel with the church I grew up in, but the choir, I just wished, and maybe they couldn't do it. I just wish they brought in the real instruments, maybe a real organ, real pianist, real guitar, someone to come on and do that music, because the only problem I had with it was the very 1991 feel of that track playing with the I was like, wait, I think we have the wrong audio going right now when it started. Everything else was awesome.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yes.
I hear you. I hear
yes.
you. All right, you're looking for some authenticity. All right, fair enough.